Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey everybody, this is Michael J. Maher. Have you ever wondered what the perfect mentor would look like? Have you ever wondered, like, out of the 7 things that matter most, we talk about mentors matter, the person that you hang out with the most. I mean, here's the thing. If you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with most, maybe the one we need to look at is that number 1. Who is the one you really spend the most time with? Because you know what? Your income is going to be related to who you hang out with. Your happiness is going to be related to that, and your health will be related to that number 1 mentor that you are hanging out with. And I will tell you, we have a real treat for you today. We have, right out of the Shark Tank, we have a Shark Tank shark. As an original shark on the hit TV show Shark Tank, the creator of the infomercial, pioneer of the As Seen on TV brand, and co-founding board member of the Entrepreneurs Organization, Kevin Harrington has pushed past all the questions and excuses to repeatedly enjoy 100x success. His legendary work behind the scenes of business ventures has produced more than 5 billion, that's with a B, in global sales, the launch of more than 500 products, and the making of dozens of millionaires. He's launched massively successful products like, you've heard of all these, the Food Saver, Ginsu Knives, the Great Wok of China, the Flying Lure, and many more. He has worked with amazing celebrities turned entrepreneurs, including Billy Mays, Tony Little, Jack LaLanne, and George Foreman, to name a few. Kevin's been called the entrepreneur's entrepreneur and the entrepreneur anchorman because he knows the challenges unique to startups and has a special passion for helping entrepreneurs succeed. Let's please welcome Mr. Kevin Harrington. Kevin, welcome.
Hey, Michael, thank you. Well, that was very nice. It sounds like my mother helped you write that script, by the way. So.
Well, actually, she did. So thanks for noticing. And I will tell you, I have so many questions for you. It's a shame we only have so many minutes to make this happen. But I will tell you, it's just like, I love the path that we talked about in the pre-show when you're waiting in the green room. It's like these 7 things that matter most. We really got to get clear on what matters most. And I've done this presentation, and our listeners and viewers and the people who have seen this are very familiar with these 7 things that matter most. I believe, in my opinion, mindset matters, minutes matter, your schedule matters, message matters, how you communicate and what your message is, mentors matter, and then you've got momentum matters. Where do you have momentum? Where do you not have momentum? The map matters. What's your plan look like? And then mastery matters. Like, take something and go to the 10,000th hour with something, anything, and just figure out mastery. And today, I know we're going to talk about infomercial and how you've mastered infomercials. And we're going to talk about these millionaires that you've created through this wonderful marketing tool called the infomercial. But I would also love to dive deep into these successful ventures and these entrepreneurs, and Entrepreneurs Organization, which has changed millions of lives as well. And then I have to tell you, we got to hone at the end. We've got to hone in on your book coming out, because I'm telling you something. You're not just going to make a dent in the universe with this. I think you're going to blow a hole in the universe with the message that you have in Mentor to Millions.
Thank you. Hey, we got a big schedule ahead of us here, huh?
Well, you've accomplished a lot, Kevin, and that's we all have the same 24 hours in the day. You've achieved a ton with yours. And that's a tribute to your time management. It's a tribute to your ideas. It's a tribute to the people you've hung out with and the mentors you've had, So yeah. I want to jump in right from the beginning, because because I am a marketing guy. My MBA is in marketing and communications. So I'm genuinely curious about all this infomercial. You took the advertorial and put it on steroids, right? The advertorial is an advertisement and an editorial in a magazine where you read it and you're like, is this really an article or is this really an advertisement? And you're like, oh, that's so good. It's so good. And so many millions have been sold through an advertorial, but you took the new medium or the medium of TV and created the infomercial. How did that start? Like how did that idea come about?
Okay, so I was a young entrepreneur. Let's go all the way back to the early 80s. Okay, so we're talking almost 40 years ago. I just ordered cable TV in my house, and the original package of cable was 30 channels. So I'll never forget, I went from 4 or 5 channels to 30, and I'm going through ESPN, 24 hours of sports, HBO, 24 hours of movies, MTV, music. I get to the Discovery Channel, which was actually channel 30, the last channel, and there's nothing there. They had these colored bars on the screen. So I called the cable company and I said, hey, I love the 29 channels that I'm getting, but I'm paying you for 30, okay? And they said, what do you mean? I said, there's nothing on Discovery. They said, oh, it's an 18-hour-a-day channel. It's brand new. They don't have a budget for 24 hours a day yet. And I said, oh, so there's 6 hours of nothing? And they said, exactly. Then I said, well, can I come down and meet with you? Because the entrepreneurial mind, think about it, Michael. If you're sitting, now, today it's easy to think, oh, wow, let's fill that airtime with something, right? But this is 38 years ago, and I'm saying, what can I put on there? Well, I used to go to a lot of trade shows. My business at that time, I was a business broker. So I sold pizza parlors and delicatessens and laundromats and flower shops. So I went to a lot of trade shows, and I'm at the Philadelphia Home Show, and I'm watching a guy with a knife in his hand cut through a Coca-Cola can and a hammer, a pair of sneakers, a muffler, and it's called the Ginsu knife, he said. So I saw him sell thousands of dollars in Ginsu knives. This was right around the time that I just seen Discovery Channel with nothing on it.
Right.
I said to the guy, hey, let's put this together. I'll film it, put you on Discovery. He said, what's Discovery? I said, don't worry, you're going to make a lot of money. His name was Arnold Morris. He died a very wealthy man, okay? Arnold became a very successful entrepreneur. And then, I mean, the Ginsu knife took off. We sold hundreds of millions of dollars. And I was just filling downtime. And so Arnold said, hey, Kevin, by the way, at that Philadelphia Home Show, did you see other people like me? I want to introduce you to them, but I want a commission. He introduced me to Billy Mays and Sandy Mason and Wally Nash. So the rest was history. We took off. All of a sudden, we're doing Ginsu and Food Saver and Tony Little's Fitness and Jack LaLanne's Juicer, George Foreman. And by the way, now we've got a new George Foreman product called the Knockout Pain Cream, because he had a lot of pain in the boxing world, with CBD oils added. So that was the beginning, just filling down time on the TV networks.
How brilliant is that? And I will tell you, there's a lot, even the entrepreneurial mind would have been sitting there going, we don't need more TV. That's what's funny, right? I mean, you went from 5 to 6 channels to 30, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, there's so many more channels. There's so many useless channels, Yeah. ESPN, why do we need 20? Remember back then it was like, that's never going to make it. 24-hour sports.
When I first launched the infomercials, you won't believe the people that came to me and said, you are such an idiot. Who's going to watch a 30-minute commercial? Nobody likes commercials. And hey, guess what? I didn't know if they would or they wouldn't. I shot the show, put it up. Not only did they watch, they bought, okay? And so, and by the way, this is years before QVC, 12 years before Amazon. And I was the B2C guy. And I dropped out of college, and my mom said, wait a minute, you are going to go direct to the consumer, like, developing products and cutting out the retail store? And I said, yes, that's my business model. And my mom, I can't believe you're going to quit school for this, right? Well, we've done billions now, so it's been a pretty good run.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. And so I want to talk all right, I think what we can learn from the infomercial is something that we can apply to any of our graphics, advertising, even social media. So what makes an infomercial solid or good or sell, and what makes it a clunker? I mean, I can't even imagine a better person to ask that question to than you.
I've had a lot more clunkers than winners. Okay. So
there you go.
Winston Churchill said, success is being able to go from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm. Okay. So I didn't in the beginning have enthusiasm when I failed, but now I realize it's part of life. Right.
Yeah.
So this is what I look for in a winner. I want it not only to solve a problem, but does it solve a problem in a unique fashion such that no other product or service solves the problem in a similar fashion? Okay. So, when I saw Tony Little's Gazelle and him walking on air, I'm like, oh my God, I have never seen anything like this. When I saw the Food Saver sucking the air out of the bag, crushing Coca-Cola cans, I said, there's nothing like this. And so, these were the things that I looked for in the early days. And so, I'm looking for a problem solver in a unique fashion, but I'm also looking for, are there any magical transformations, right? So when Tony Little first walked in my office and he was showing me his products, I said, Tony, do you have any people that have used your products? And he whips out a book this thick with before and after pictures of people that had used his products and lost a lot of weight. So I said, oh my God, you've got a unique product. It solves a problem. You've got amazing testimonials. It's demonstrable. Let's do it. Okay. So those are some of the things that I look for. Now, some of the clunkers that we ran into are products that, I'll be honest, if people come to me and say, hey, somebody just was burglarized in our neighborhood the other day and their car was stolen or whatever, and I want an anti-car theft type thing. So those are harder sell products because they're not glamorous. There's not amazing transformation necessarily. And people don't wake up in the morning thinking, you know what? I better get something to protect my car from getting stolen because I think it's getting stolen today, right? They move on those kind of things after something bad happens. So I like to think of products that are positive, that enhance your life, solve problems, and give you something fun. So, I'll give you an example of a clunker. I grew up in a house in Cincinnati, Ohio, 6 kids, 8 of us lived with 2 bathrooms. And so if you're taking a shower and somebody flushed the toilet, it took the hot water out and the cold water out, and you got scalded. So one day a guy is showing me a shower head that had a piece of memory metal in it, such that if the water got above 100 degrees, it expanded that metal and shut the valve off so that you couldn't get scalded because it shut the hot water off. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, because I grew up in a home like this is amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to want this. But guess what? People are not waking up every morning saying, I'm going to get scalded today. I better go buy shower guard for $100. Okay. And so when we did the shower guard project, it bombed because not enough people thought it was a big enough problem that they needed to spend $100 for it. Right. Mm-hmm. So that was definitely a clunker, and I could give you tons of clunkers for the rest of the day here. Okay.
Yeah. I get it. I love it. And you hit it on the head with it's transformative. It's something and you can see the transformation either literally right there or through testimonials.
Exactly.
And it's got to be demonstrative, right? It's got to be something that you see in front of you. Here's the thing. You're not going to sell insurance through an infomercial, right? You may do it through a commercial.
Yeah. You might generate some leads, but there's a process in looking at different things. When we talk about unique positioning also, I'm just going to grab something real fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I keep things very handy when I do podcasts and webinars because I know that I might need it. So a guy brings me this item and says, this is going to be your next home run. And I said, what is it? He said, well, it's an eyeglass cleaner, but 2 functions. First function is it cleans off all the dust and everything because you don't want to scratch anything, closes up, opens up, and now it's a double-sided carbon cleaning system for your glasses. And it goes just like this, cleans both sides simultaneously, and it's ready to go. It's called Peeps. When the gentleman brought me this, I said, it's unique enough. There is nothing like this. It solves a big problem, keeping your glasses clean. It's affordable. It's demonstrable. This is a $100 million product, Michael, okay? And it was zero when I got involved. So these are the things we do. It's on QVC. It's in Walmart. It's in Target. It's in As Seen on TV. It's on Facebook and Instagram. This is what we look for. The hottest, newest, latest problem solvers that are unique in the market and demonstrable and magically transformational.
I love that. And it's called Peeps?
Peeps, Peeps. Been out there. We're about 2 years on a big run with this thing.
So I will tell you that I don't know if the list is sold of who bought that, but whoever bought that is a perfect candidate for all the LASIK doctors in the world. Yes. So it's like, wow, there's so much you could do with that. So here's the thing is that, so I'd love to know, like, from start to finish. So you're setting up an infomercial, and this will be the last question I ask about infomercials, but it's what are the nuts and bolts during did you have a formula or a blueprint for the infomercial that came over time? Like, I have a blueprint for my webinars. I have a blueprint for some things that I do. Sure. I'm a planning guy. I'm a system guy. Oh, yeah. You know, what were some highlights of what to do? Because here's the thing. Video is blowing up, Kevin. Yep. Like, Facebook is investing in video. We're investing in video. A lot of people are investing in video, especially with what happened with quarantine and COVID-19. And interestingly enough, my car was stolen during COVID-19. That's a story for another day. But it's one of those where, okay, if I can take the characteristics that make an infomercial great and apply it to video, my video is probably more likely to be great. You know, that's what I'm thinking right now.
Right. So I'm going to give you some formulas, but let me start with in a 30-minute infomercial, we learned over time that people weren't necessarily watching from the first minute all the way to the last 30 minutes. Sometimes they were finishing up another show, coming in 10 minutes in. So we ended up with this unique formula. An infomercial is 30 minutes, but we do it in 3 10-minute pods. Brilliant. So that each pod had to almost be able to stand alone. Sometimes you'll see testimonials that repeat themselves in infomercials because they're running the pods 3 times possibly. Not the exact same pod, but each pod has to do this: tease, please, and seize. Okay? So the first 10-minute pod, it teases with an attention-getting problem, and then it pleases by solving the problem uniquely with magical transformations and testimonials, and then it seizes with an irresistible offer. So there will be a CTA, a call to action, at the end of that 10-minute pod. So it's a standalone 10 minutes, tease, please, seize, with a CTA at the end. Next pod, tease, please, seize, CTA at the end. Next pod, tease, please, seize, CTA at the end. So there is a science to infomercials, and the tease is important on the front end because think of it this way. You just watched a movie, it's over, you're going to go get a snack or a sandwich or go to the restroom or something, and my infomercial's coming on. I've got 7 or 8 seconds to grab you, tease you, and make you want to watch. So if let's say you're a golfer and you just watch something and I say, before you do anything, would you like to take 10 strokes off your golf game? Listen to this, and boom. Now I've teased them with a hook, and now I'm going to start telling them why and how, and then an irresistible offer. In fact, I did the very first original golf infomercial on a golf club called the Medicus Golf Club. It's a hinged club that flops when you go to swing. So I love pretty much every category, and I've been involved in many categories. But that's my formula. 3 10-minute pods, and the teasing and pleasing and seizing.
And the last part of that is seizing, C-E-A-S-E, like seize,
No,
like
S-E-I-Z-E.
S-E-I-Z-E. Yeah, so seize. Yeah.
See, like,
All right.
you
So
seize
close it
them
off.
like in an act, you know.
Seize
you've
the
gotta
moment.
Capture, seize the moment.
That's right.
Seize them by closing. It's closing the sale.
So it's TPS, CTA. So
There
it's
you go.
tease, please, and seize, and then call to action. Tease,
Yes.
please, and seize, call to action. Tease, please, seize, and then call to action at the very end, and which is another genius formula is use your call to action 3 times. So
Yeah.
if somebody's watching, maybe the first one, they don't necessarily take it. The second one, maybe they don't. By the third one, they're sold. They're rated.
You know what? We find that, especially the higher price the item, you need a little repetition, right? I mean, when we were selling the Gazelle for $400 and $500, it's not something someone's going to buy in 4 minutes, right? They need a little bit of we can sell it in 30 minutes, but sometimes it's that second and that third, CTA that brings them home.
Kevin, I have to tell you, that's a drop the mic moment right there. To you're like, we just do tease, please, seize, and then a CTA. But how many people aren't doing that with their podcast, with their YouTube videos, with their Facebook Live video? The answer is nobody's doing that. And yet right here, you just gave us all the blueprint for, creating and increasing engagement in our Facebook groups, selling product, even Facebook advertising leading to something like this. I love that.
When you think of it, Michael, if you're going to be on for 30 minutes, you should every now and then be summarizing that's like the call to action. Spend 8 or 6, 8, 10 minutes and call to action, summarize. Let's go back at it again, summarize, go back at it again, and summarize and close at the end.
And that is such a great idea that I want to do it right now. This is Kevin Harrington, the Shark Tank Shark, the guy who created the infomercial. Go to kevinharrington.tv right now. Check it out. Go check out what this guy has to offer. And I'm going to tell you what, we've got more to come right now that is going to blow you out of the water. I'll tell you, this guy is so universally competent in so many amazing things. Let's talk about Entrepreneurs Organization real quick. So how did you get involved with that? How did you get started? And what is EO?
So I was sitting it was 1987, and I was out in LA with a buddy, Vern Harnish. And Vern had started in college, he had something called ACE, the Association of Collegiate Entrepreneurs. And so Vern came to me. I was at Entrepreneur Magazine's headquarters. We were doing a deal with Entrepreneur Magazine, and Vern was there. And he said, Kevin, you're an entrepreneur. You're a young entrepreneur. We should he said, I started an organization in college for collegiate entrepreneurs, but now we should do one for the mass market of entrepreneurs. We're going to call it, originally it was YEO, the Young Entrepreneurs Organization, but he said, we can move it into EO at a certain point also. So YEO became EO. And by the way, there was a couple others hanging out. Michael Dell was there from Dell Computers. Another gentleman by the name of Ted Leonsis. Ted he's a billionaire. He owns the Washington Capitals, the Washington Wizards, so the basketball team and the hockey team in Washington, D.C., because he sold his company to AOL when AOL was first starting. And I remember Ted telling me 1994, he said, Kev, I just sold my company for $10 million. And I'm like, oh, congratulations, Ted. That's fantastic. And I said, was it all cash or would you? He said, oh no, it's a little startup. They don't have any cash. It's all stock. And I'm like, oh, that's a shame. What's the name of the company? He said, it's a little company called America Online. And that 10 million was worth over $1 billion then because the stock went to the moon. So we all said, let's help young entrepreneurs. And we started, and we all put some money into an account. We started this nonprofit association, EO. And it's still to this day the largest organization in the world. We're in 155 cities and more than 50 countries. So recently I went to Shanghai, put the word out, hey, I'm going to be in town. Anybody want to meet for lunch? We had 30 people show up, but we needed a private room, okay? So because I was launching a new business and I needed help, and All these people came out of the woodworks, phone centers, fulfillment centers, digital guys, this, that. It's a global camaraderie organization that helps entrepreneurs get mentored, basically. That's why, I know we're going to talk about my book about mentoring coming up here, but EO is a mentoring organization that helps you build your business with some great advice from other mentors.
I love it. How many members are there to EO again?
There's over 10,000 members. And by the way, this isn't like $100 a year. You got to pay some money. It's a couple $1,000s to be a member. And even there's local and national dues, but it's well worth it. I've been involved now. Let's see, as a founder, 1987 when we created it. So, and there isn't a week that goes by that I don't hear from someone in the EO network around the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great to hear. And anybody can join the EO that's an entrepreneur. Is that right?
You need to be $1 million business plus. Okay. They just don't want a lot of floundering folks because they want to really focus on those that have been through a little bit of, ups and downs. At $1 million a year, you paid your dues. And they do have a program that's called an accelerator program for those under $1 million, sort of a precursor to EO. But to be a full EO member, you have to have $1 million business.
Love it. Very cool. Yeah. And now we got to talk about Shark Tank, right?
Okay.
So how the heck did you get into Shark Tank, and how the heck did, the story of how you got in has to be it has to be, I don't even know what it is. In fact, it's not even one of our rehearsed questions.
Okay.
But as I'm talking to this, it's just like, you're doing so many of these awesome things. It's like this almost seems like, whoa, this came out of left field.
I'll go back to mentoring again, because I had a chance to go down. Think about this. You're sitting at home, you get a phone call. Hey, would you like to spend the weekend with Richard Branson at his island, Necker Island, in about a month? And a buddy of mine. And I said, you're kidding me. I said, and Richard's going to be there? They said, absolutely. And I said, so just a couple of us going to go down and hang out with him? Yeah, I said, we'll make a little donation to his charity. So I go down there, hang with Richard, and Richard's like, Kevin, I love all those as seen on TV things, that Billy Mays guy, Tony Little. And he says, you build all their brands. He said, that's pretty amazing. I said, hey, thank you. He says, but guess what? You never built your own brand, did you? And he was setting me up. He's a smart guy, right? Yeah. So I'm like, what do you mean? You're right. I didn't build my own brand. Billy Mays. Tony Little has a multi-billion-dollar brand now. Mm-hmm. And he was a bodybuilder when I met him. So he said, go home, build your own brand. Write some books, create some content. So I went home, started writing books and podcasts and all this. And little did I know, my first book, I was on radio shows. I was doing 1, then 5, then 25, then 50, then 100. Then I got on TV shows. Then I'm in the Wall Street Journal. But who was watching? Mark Burnett. He was looking for a shark that had product experience. So I got the phone call. So all I'm going to say is this. Building my brand was powerful, but it got the attention of Mark Burnett, got me the interview with Mark Burnett, and then it required the perfect pitch, which was the T's, please, and the C's. So I'm sitting there with Mark Burnett, and I said, Mark, I'll bet you've been talking to a lot of sharks, because I said, what's Shark Tank? He said, imagine this. Someone comes out, they get 3 minutes to pitch, and there's 5 sharks. You are investors. You get 3 minutes to make up your mind whether you're going to invest in their business or not, or their product. And I said, I love it. He said, what do you mean you love it? He says, everybody else has been telling me, how do you make your mind up in 3 minutes whether you're going to make an investment? I said, that's right, Mark. That's because they don't take pitches like I do. I go to the houseware show, the hardware show, the fitness show, the beauty show, the golf show, the toy fair, and I take pitches. I've taken tens of thousands of pitches, and I've invested in 500 deals already. He said, oh my God, let's turn the cameras on, do a screen test right now today. And we did. And when I got done with it, they said, we've done about 24 of these. That was amazing. Okay. Because I'd been taking pitches before. So anyway, that was all I had to do, was sit in front of people. They came at me one at a time, 1 and 2 and 3, giving me pitches. And I was rifling questions and talking about doing deals and investing and valuations. And make a long story short, I walked out of there, got a phone call a couple days later. You're going to be a shark. Okay. So it was pretty cool. And they actually told me I was the first one they picked.
Wow. That's the original shark, the
That's
first shark.
The original. Yeah.
So that's very cool. And so what's the number one thing you learned by being on that show? Because now it was reversed. You went to the trade shows and they had a minute or two to create their pitch and do their demo.
Right.
But, the people that were coming in for 3 minutes didn't have that background for the most part.
Right.
What did, and maybe something you learned from not even being on the show, it was being behind the scenes when it comes to the show.
I mean, look, I'll say this. My investing strategy prior to Shark Tank was primarily investing in products where I would get the rights to the product because I had the capital to blow it up. So somebody would give me their product. I would say, let me give you a big royalty. I mean, Tony Little's a good example. I gave Tony Little 5% of sales as a royalty. Well, if I'm doing 300 million, he's going to get 15 million right off the top.
Yeah.
And so not bad for a day's work, right? And he did that many times for me and made many tens of millions of dollars. So on Shark Tank, though, I was investing and getting 10%, 20% of a company. And now I'm a minority shareholder of a private company. And the problem there?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of exits of private companies. So the biggest thing I learned, and this is something that is now, Mr. Wonderful is very proud of himself in this regard. He doesn't like to put, give me $1 million for 10% of my company. Well, when am I going to get the money back? Well, I don't know. After we get 10 million in profit, you'll get your $1 million back. Well, that's maybe never going to happen. So in other words, my money is sunk and I may never get it back. So I started focusing, and the biggest thing I learned on Shark Tank is you need to focus on either getting accelerated payback on your investment or some kind of royalty structure, or some kind of a payment that's coming back sooner.
You got to get the money back.
You got to get your money back, because if you invest a lot of money and it's tied up forever, you can't keep investing money. So I like to see the money's coming back and churning so I can redeploy those assets. So know when to hold them, know when to fold them when you're investing in private companies.
I have to tell you, I love that. Now, I have spoken with several of the sharks as well through the last couple of years, and I will not name names, but one of them said that the thing that they learned was to never be in a competitive environment when it comes to investing. Right? Be the only one in the room that they're talking to about investing in their product.
Yeah.
Versus having 4 other there who are going to draw, sometimes you get into the competitiveness versus what the deal is really worth, what the thing is really going to do for you.
Yeah, because the competitiveness can drive the supply and demand. If there's more demand, the more expense sometimes, right? You get into a bidding war, and again, it's sort of I like that unique positioning kind of thing. Also, the other thing I learned at Shark Tank is that the people that are pitching, and they're, a lot of times they don't really know all the things they should be knowing about their business. They don't know about all their competition. I know how to do a competitive analysis and get to the bottom line of the opportunity and why it may not be such a great opportunity. So, there's a system that I put people through, and it's a checklist. I got to see this and this and this and this, because I've lost on quite a few of my investments, not only Shark Tank, but other projects too.
So one of the greatest resources that I've ever seen you share combines this EO and this infomercial and kind of Shark Tank is your perfect pitch blueprint. Do you mind if I share that with the people who are listening and watching today? Is it okay if I share a website for them to go get it?
Absolutely. Yeah, because as many pitches as I've taken and I also give them, again, I've learned how to pitch, and there's 10 steps to pitching, and I gave you just the accelerated version of it, T's, please, and C's. That's just the 3-step formula. When you get the perfect pitch blueprint, we give you all 10 steps.
And we can all get that at perfectpitchblueprint.com, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Listen, everybody needs to go download the Perfect Pitch Blueprint. That is a phenomenal gift from Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for doing that.
There's no charge, by the way. It's absolutely free.
I love it. And so let's jump into mentorship.
Yeah.
Why is having a mentor so important today?
Well, it's important today. It was important in the old days too. I'll give you an example. I was building my business, and when I first got started in the world of as seen in TV, and so shooting infomercials, and then the challenge with infomercials is once we had a success, we now needed a lot of inventory. Right. So QVC would order 100,000 pieces. Now I got to go make it. Let's say it costs $10 to make that product. $10 times 100,000, $1 million. I have to make it, ship it, and wait 60 days to get paid. Who's going to finance that? Well, I needed capital. When I first started, I didn't have that money. So I went to banks. And let's go to banks and get money. Well, guess what? Banks, they don't like lending money unless you've got the security. So I'll never forget getting an approval from one of the banks. And I said, I need $3 million. And, oh, no problem. We get down to the final legs of it. And they're like, okay, so now how are you going to secure that $3 million? Do you have real estate? Do you have cash? Do you have, lines of credit somewhere? Or what do you got? I said, no. I said, I've got a business. They said, well, we don't lend against businesses. Okay. So I got turned down by 5 banks. And then I'm like really upset because I've got a winning couple shows. I can't get the inventory. So at my Chamber of Commerce, I love the network. And I'm sitting there talking to this guy, and he's a retired banker, used to be the CEO of a big bank in the city I lived in at the time, Philadelphia. And I was telling him my story, and he said, Kevin, he said, you didn't get money because you didn't know how to talk to the bank. He says, tell me about your business. You're doing 85 million a year. You got this, you got that. He said, I can get you $3 million, no problem. And I'm like, really? I said, will you mentor me? He said, yes. In fact, I'm going to mentor you absolutely free. I want nothing. And I'm going to get you the $3 million. And then you're going to decide you can't live without me, and you're going to want to hire me. And then we're going to cut a deal. So he came in, put all these plans together, because it isn't what the bank, I was talking about how great our business had been in the past. Yeah, they want to know that, but they want to see your 5-year projections. They want to know they're going to get paid back. That not just that you survived in the past, what is your game plan for the future? So we put together an amazing presentation, and by the way, an amazing perfect pitch. And one of the banks that turned me down actually gave me a $3 million line of credit. I hired a guy to be my COO, and the rest is history. We built it from there to $500 million. So he was a finance mentor, and I have mentors in finance, mentors in digital, mentors in legal, mentors in operations. I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in mentors and coaches. And I believe, hey, if I can do billions, what's a couple $100,000 in mentorship, right?
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Love that. I love that. And having a mentor, coach, consultant, somebody that you can go to that's been there, done that, had a lot of success, or knows the tricks. You know, I think one of the reasons that having a mentor is so important is because it cuts the learning curve and it helps you solve problems faster. You know, you had a problem, money. Yeah. You needed the money now, but you knew you were going to make it on the back end. It was just like if you couldn't secure the $300 line of credit, then you're like, all the rest of it doesn't matter.
Right.
So it's amazing is the difference here was a mentor. A mentor helped make it happen. And eventually it turned into a great partnership versus mentorship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the mentor wanted to join the company. And so mentors can help you. They can help introduce you to other key executives, to other mentors, to other advisors. They can help you raise capital. They're a great sounding board. It's really powerful to have as big a mentor as possible. I mentor dozens of companies. I'm on advisory boards. I'm on 9 public boards of public companies. And I'm kind of at the peak of how many I can handle at one time now, but this is what I enjoy doing because I've been there and done that. We've gone through a COVID crisis in 1990. I went through the Gulf War crisis and had a major downturn in my business 30 years ago. So I've been through tough times. And what did I learn during that time? I'll tell you what it is, because I had all of my business under one company, one LLC, one merchant account. And we had one of our products was causing problems. This is the year 1990. And so we were getting too many returns and chargebacks, but the bank came in and they thought our whole business was messed up. They seized a bunch of money out of our accounts and we had a major problem, but it was just one little product of the dozens that we had that was causing these complaints. So now we set up separate LLCs for every product, because if one of them blows up, you're not going to lose your whole company. So this is what a mentor is going to tell you, these kinds of things. And I've been there, been doing it for 38 years. If there's anyone out there looking for a good mentor, maybe I'll be somebody that we can touch base about it. I can't do very many more, Michael, but I do look for very unique opportunities.
I love that. And so you have a book coming out.
Yes.
Called Mentor to Millions.
Correct.
And now the website for this is kevinmentor.com. Is that correct?
kevinmentor.com. I've been working on this book for 2 years. I turned the manuscript into Hay House in January of this year. And they said, wow, we love it because it's a feel-good story about mentoring, not only for business, but for your family life also, because we all come home at some point to our families, and how do you transition during that? And it's just a really feel-good kind of book and great information about getting the right mentors in your life. And so Hay House said, you really need to get this book out. So it's coming out soon, and there's advanced copies available because the book is done, it's turned in, and I'm really, really excited because part of what I'll be doing is sharing this message through amazing podcasts like yours, Michael, and eventually as we get into August and September also, when we're ready to, actually have the full book out, there'll be some big announcements coming up then also, especially for those. We have some bonus gifts for those that get in early right now. So I'm going to encourage people to go to kevinmentor.com also.
I love it. And the title, once again, is Mentor to Millions. I love that. Double entendre, right?
Yeah.
It's mentor to millions of dollars, maybe.
Right.
And it's mentor to millions of people. So
Exactly.
I love the double meaning to the mentor to millions. And I will tell you, you've been a mentor to all of us today and ongoing as we have been recording, and we will get this out in many, many different outlets. And I mean, to summarize, right, you've invented this thing called the infomercial that has changed TV forever. It literally has changed TV. I mean, you should be getting royalties from Beachbody and P90X and like, it's like I think about all the things that have been sold and I purchased. Yeah.
I have a little known fact. The founder of Beachbody is Carl Deichler. He started in my company back in the late 80s. And so, hey, I've launched and birthed many, many entrepreneurs in my business. God bless them. I love them. I actually had a chance to own a piece of Beachbody when Carl first presented it to me. But I said, you know what, Carl, good luck to you. Go do it. And one of my employees lent him the money to get started, believe it or not. So,
wow.
And I still didn't get a piece. So it's okay. I think he's worth hundreds of millions now, Carl Deichler. I love it when I can say that somebody that I was involved with inside my own company years ago started something so powerful. It's $1 billion brand.
And changed a lot of lives, changed a lot of health. People have become healthy through it. And of course, he's gotten paid handsomely to help do that. And he's launched several careers of the health personalities that have been out there.
Yeah.
So we've got the infomercial. You then gave us the wonderful format, truly the blueprint to not just an infomercial, but any video we do, YouTube, Facebook Live, with the T's, please, C's, call to action. repeat that 3 times. Now, with the infomercial, it's 30 minutes. We could very easily make that a 10-minute video and make each of those 3 minutes. So it works. It scales very nicely. And I love that. And then the other thing is we went to, Founding Entrepreneurs Organization, which has impacted tens of thousands of lives and is one of the largest networking organizations in the world, and is still one of those organizations that high quality people, it's worth going because every conversation is going to be high-minded. You don't get the takers. You don't get the gossip. What you get is a mastermind. And I love what you're doing with that. And then to transition into Shark Tank, it didn't surprise me at all that you were the original shark. You're the guy. And I love that you were the man who knew how to approach the pitches. And I also love the fact that, you gave us some honesty there where it's like 5 or 10% of a business that it's like tied up forever and maybe never get that back. That's not a great investment. It makes sense to have some type of royalty or way to get your money back. And then of course, the fact that, a lot of people, they go through this phase, this transformation in life. They go from success to significance. Yeah. And they become successful and then they realize, well, chasing the almighty dollar is not the end all be all. It's also being of significance. And something that I'm on the warpath about is don't go from success to significance. Focus on success and significance. Right. And in fact, I would say for many of the successful, significance came first. And what I love about what you're doing with Mentor to Millions is it's success and significance wrapped up in one little neat package. And isn't it amazing how hard we work to put together a $20 product called a book? All those hours, all that writing, all that hard work, and it's a $20 gift,
Right. Hey, and it's packed full of great stuff too, right? 2 years of my life I put into that.
Yeah, for a book, $20. Yeah. I mean, everybody that is hearing this should just thank you and go get the book, just if they never read it, just as what, Kevin, thank you for being on. Thank you for all your time. I'm going to buy the book. And then, of course, those that are high achievers are going to open it and they're going to read it and they're going to apply Mentor to Millions. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Kevin Harrington here. Are you kidding me? This guy, go to check him out at kevinharrington.tv. Go check him out. Free gift, perfectpitchblueprint.com. And then, come on, he just keeps giving and giving and giving. kevinmentor.com. You can go get his book, Mentor to Millions, which is sure to be a bestseller. Kevin, you have definitely helped us develop a smart restart plan for coming out of everything we've come through this year. Yeah. And I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Well, Michael, I could tell with your sincerity and you're an amazing guy and love being with you today. It's 1 + 1 = 7, the way we're doing it here. And that's what mentoring is all about too, when you think about it, right? So I've been following you and love what you do and how you communicate with your tribe and followers. And thanks for having me. It's been a powerful day, and just want to give 2 thumbs up to everybody out there to make it happen. And don't be afraid and be unstoppable in your day-to-day life. So thanks for having me.
Love that. Thank you, Kevin. Have a great one.
Take care. Bye-bye.